Hey, what's up guys, TechTime here, and I am back again with a brand new video. So in today's video I'm excited, and before I begin, as always, I want to thank you all so much for watching this one. If you enjoy my content, you know what to do. Leave a thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and of course, if you have any questions, I'll leave my Instagram right below that like button and the subscribe button, so make sure you're subscribed and like this video. And if you have any questions, just DM me on Instagram. I respond pretty quickly. So with that being said, in today's video, we're going to be actually reviewing and comparing the Motorola Moto G Fast as well as the Moto G Power. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to start right off the bat with the design of the Moto G Fast. So the Moto G Fast has this white back and a triple camera setup on the back, as well as the Motorola logo has this fingerprint scanner. And the back has this kind of slight patterns. If you really zoom into the back, you'll see them, but they were not really meant for any texture or anything like that. They're just there for aesthetics. And on the bottom of the phone, you have your USB-C, you have a microphone, as well as your bottom facing speaker. And on the right hand side, you have your textured power button, which is meant to differentiate between it and the volume up and down, which are also made from this nice chrome finish. And the sides, yeah, they're made out of chrome. They give it a nice look for the phone. They give the phone a nice look and feel. And the top still retains the 3.5mm headphone jack, as well as another microphone. And on the back, you have a triple camera setup. So I discussed the cameras in depth in my camera review of this phone, so I'll leave it linked below if you guys want to check it out. But basically, you have a main sensor, and your secondary camera acts as a 118-degree ultra-wide sensor, and you also have kind of a gimmick macro sensor, which I don't expect anybody to use. So yeah, there's that for you, and there will be a picture comparison between it and the Moto G Power. And the front on the front of the phone, you do have your front-facing embedded into the display camera, and the display here is a 6.4-inch 720p display, and it's 1560 by 720 if you guys are into that specs, and it is an IPS panel. So now moving on to the Moto G Power. The Moto G Power also has this. So the Moto G Power has also kind of a, you can think of it as a similar back. However, the color is different. So it transitions from like medium gray to high gray type of color. And if you zoom in on it too, you will see these kind of fingerprint oval shaped textured patterns. Well, they're not really textured. They don't really provide any texture or anything like that. They're just there again for aesthetics. And you either like it or you don't. That's just your personal preference. Me personally, I don't like it, but at the same time, I don't hate it. I'm just indifferent about it. On the bottom, you have your USB-C, a microphone, as well as your loud bottom-facing speaker. And the right hand side houses your power button and your volume up and down. This time they decided to go with the indentation because the side power button actually acts as a fingerprint sensor as well. And the back has your triple camera setup, your 48 megapixel main camera. You also have a macro camera and a depth sensor, which again, to me are just gimmicks. I wish they included a ultra wide angle instead of this a macro sensor or a depth sensor. So take out those two and just put in a wide angle. I think will make a lot of people happier. So if we actually take a look at the camera too, it kind of protrudes just slightly. So this phone is gonna rock back and forth on a flat surface, and the sides are not made out of the same chrome material. I feel like if this had the same chrome material as the Moto G Fast, it would just elevate the design just a little bit more. And they also embedded the front-facing camera within the display itself. So the Moto G Power upgrades the display. So it is a 6.4-inch 1080p panel, and it's 2300 by 1080p, and it still is an IPS panel, but it's definitely quality and definitely a higher resolution display. Now, if we put these phones side by side to actually do a display comparison, you can tell that unless you have the phones really close to you, it's hard to really pixel peep. However, the G Power seems to me that it has just a better quality IPS panel, just slightly. I guess that's due to the resolution, even though it's hard to tell. But I prefer the G Power's display over the G-Fast display. So the backs, again, they're similar. This is basically personal preference. I like the transition gray color in the G Power, and they decided to go with this kind of square camera cutout, whereas the G Fast, they had like the main camera separate from the other cameras. So yeah, this is really just personal preference. If you like it, you like it. If you hate it, you hate it. Now, as far as specifications go, we can talk about them. So the G Fast has the following specs. So it has a Snapdragon 665 chip, 3 gigabytes of RAM, as well as a 4000 milliamp hour battery. And the processor is an octa-core chip, with the GPU being the Adreno 610 GPU. Now, it comes standard with 32 gigabytes of storage. As far as the Moto G Power goes, it actually uses the same chip, so Snapdragon 665. However, it does have 4 gigabytes of RAM, standard 64 gigabytes of storage, and it uses the Adreno 610 GPU. So processor is similar, which is surprising, but you'll see what difference that actually makes. And the G Power, its specialty is the word power, and that comes from the 5000 milliamp hour battery, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So as far as opening up apps, so things like, let's say, the phone app, the G Power is faster, and I guess that's due to the way Motorola decided to calibrate the processor. So the messaging app, also opening that, is slightly faster. It's not really by a huge margin or anything like that. Again, they are using the same processor, so you would kind of expect that. But the G Power does open up the apps faster, and you can also thank the RAM for that as well. But performance overall, I mean, the only real world difference is that extra gigabyte of RAM, and if that makes a whole world of a difference to you, then yeah, go ahead and go get the G Power. But realistically, it's not really going to make a big deal, especially when it comes to gaming and things of that sort. So now let's talk about the cameras. So I discussed the cameras more in depth in their separate camera reviews, so I'll leave them linked below. But the story behind this is the following. The G Fast surprised me because it brings out the colors a little bit more. It just, the picture, you feel it that it's a little bit more colorful. However, if you turn on HDR on the G Power, you're definitely gonna get your color back. So also, this just goes down to you comparing them side by side as well. And the specialty of the G Power is that when you zoom in on a picture, the 48 megapixel just gives you more detail. Okay. And I discussed that again in my full camera review of the G Power, so that will be linked below. So you're definitely going to be getting more detail on the G Power. However, as a picture quality, if you're doing still subjects, then turning on HDR will definitely match the colors of the Motorola Moto G Fast. So there's that for you. However, if you'd like to take pictures of a lot of moving subjects, then the G Fast will produce just slightly better colors. And both of these phones have to be in well-lit conditions for you to even produce good shots. Now, the G Power specialty goes down to the fact that it has that 5000 milliamp hour battery, which is absolutely fantastic. This phone definitely lasts days. It will last you 2 days of heavy use, which is saying something. Now, the G Fast specialty, well, when it came out, it was the fact that it's technically fast, right? And it's definitely, both of them are smooth phones, but it's the G Power and the G Fast have the same processor, so I don't think that's really a factor that will I don't think that would be a factor in your purchase decision. And overall, these are both nice phones, and they're really good in their in what they do. So as far as pricing goes, the G Power is slightly more expensive than the G Fast, and really that comes down to you. The G Power has a better display, slightly better specs, so more standard storage, as well as the extra gigabytes of RAM, and the camera, they're very comparable as far as cameras. And the G Power also has a more screen to body ratio, so it's 88% on the G Power and only 82% on the G Fast. So the Moto G Fast only weighs 189.4 grams, whereas the G Power weighs only 10 grams more, coming in at 199. And as far as thickness goes, it's not that it's not that big of a deal. So 9.1 millimeters thick on the G Fast and 9.6 millimeters thick on the Motorola Moto G Power. So yeah, okay. With that being said, this is my comparison between the Moto G Fast and the Moto G Power. Hope you guys found this video useful and educating. If you did, leave a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and definitely I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.